you got to give your team more credit. They can do it. They're smart people. Why did you hire them? They're smart. Let them do it. Just back up.
In January, we are highlighting our most downloaded episodes. And in this episode, we're going to feature Kory Rykman. And he shares in this clip how his agency is having success and writing 700 plus policies a month every single month. Kory is all about management, scaling. He talks about direct mail, which is a unique marketing opportunity that you may want to look into, specifically with the TCPA changes coming. With that being said, let's start the show.
So speaking of tough times, the last 2 years has kind of been a show in the insurance industry. So have you made any pivots within your business that you believe has paid off or that has allowed you to maintain this level of success and excellence in your business?
So insurance has been a little up and down the last couple of years. On a macro level, at my agency, it's continued to go up. So the only changes I've done is really kind of like what you guys do is I put in management and management training in place. Cause the reason you get into business, the reason I got into business is to ultimately have it run itself at one point.
Mhm.
And that's something I focused heavily on around the middle of last year. We were growing like crazy. The team is growing. The potential to continue growing was there. And I knew I couldn't be the only one managing 20 people. And I wanted to get to 30 people pretty soon and so on and so forth. So I had to put some middle management in place. And so I took two of my sales guys. They weren't necessarily the top sellers. One of them was in the top 2 or 3 at all times, but he had business ownership experience. He definitely had the mindset, the mentality, and like the firmness to be a manager. So I instantly picked him. And then another one of my guys has a yin and yang set of skills compared to him. He's more like the Papa Bear. He'll talk to you about feelings and help you learn how to talk to people. So you've got the tough guy and then the Papa Bear, and they became the managers. I think the best thing I did was hired a consulting company, just like you guys do, to turn them into killer managers. They spent, I want to say it was 3 months with the guys. And it was really just one consultant. I paid him, I want to say 25 grand to spend 3 months with them. And he trained them on how to manage teams, how to conduct meetings with them, what KPIs to look out for, and how to coach people up. And the guys really got a lot out of it and have crushed it ever since.
So I want to revisit, because it sounds like you did this, but you said last year you made a decision to do this. Was there anything specific within your business that was like, okay, this is what we need to do moving forward, or what made you come to that conclusion?
I don't know if there was anything specific, but it's kind of like business 101. If you want to scale, if you need to scale, you can't do it on your own. And that's just the concept everybody in business knows. And I was at a point where I wanted to scale, and I knew the only way to do it was to start building a team.
Did you feel like you had kind of like hit the peak by yourself and you were wearing too many hats?
I wouldn't say I was wearing too many hats, but everybody was directing questions at me from every team. And I didn't think that was the best use of my time, almost. That was probably the only annoyance of it. I could have totally handled it. I could have probably handled more, to be honest with you, on my own if I wanted to. But the key to scaling is you got to find some help. And that was really it.
Yeah. So better use of your time. I'm curious. So if you're essentially this linchpin that everyone's coming to you, what is a better use of your time instead of that role? What are you doing now?
I focus my time strictly on the managers and the financials of the book. So if I'm talking to staff, it's those two guys, and then my service manager, 99% of the time. Helping them with their job, because I've done their job, right? I've managed teams. So I'm helping them with their job, and then just watching the financials, the trend of the agency, what lead sources are working, what's not working, what is our cost of acquisition, like running those numbers top level. That's primarily what I do. And to be honest, it's not a 40-hour a week job to do that, but that was the goal. That's the goal of business. I kicked my own butt for years and years and worked 85 hours a week,
Mhm.
So I wanted to get to a point where this is exactly what I'm doing. So now that I've got more time, I've taken on another business, which is flipping houses. And I'm about a year and a half into that business. And I'm going to do the same thing eventually there too. Right now it's just me and a business partner, but we're already thinking about how can we build a team beneath us to do what we've been doing.
Gosh, I love this so much because it's diversifying and it's using the same set of skills. It's like
Right.
what you're doing in agency, you can just replicate in all of these other businesses. So I'm curious because when you get to this position in your business, who are you looking to as somebody to bounce ideas off of? So when you're looking at trends, because Michael and I have each other and then we have our COO that we go to and we're all very different people. So do you have a group or is this your management or what does that look like? Who are you bouncing
Yeah.
ideas off of?
It's the law of exposure, right? It's one of the universal laws. Who can you get around? Because once you're exposed to those ideas, you're going to be like, shoot, I can do those too. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what I do. I have a group of friends, other business owners, and the vast majority of them are insurance agents as well, but big boy agents, bigger than me. And that's who I want to be around, because if they can do it, I know I can do it. And so I'm getting ideas from them and implementing those ideas from them. So it's usually big boy guys. And there's a couple of them. I think Andrew Pilar, you've interviewed
Mhm.
him.
Oh
Yeah.
He's an awesome one. I love his ideas. And then Matt Devine. I don't know if you've
Mhm.
ever heard of him or talked to him. He's a great
I like it.
businessman. I like him a lot.
I want to go back real fast to scaling because I'm a recovering control monster myself.
I like how you were like, I'm a control. Wait, I'm in recovery right now.
And so it still pops up every now and then. All right. So I want to know, like, is there anything, not that you have a control monster, but typically I see type A entrepreneur personalities that when you go to scale, there's certain things that you're going to have to work through as an individual to release. And so I would love to know, like, during this process, is there anything that's come up that you've had to work through or let go of, or really be like, oh shit, I'm the one that's in the way of having more success within my business?
Well, I was the one that was in the way, and it wasn't really like it wasn't hurting us so much, but I just knew that I'd be the one in the way of growing, because everybody was coming to me, and how much time am I going to have left to answer everybody's questions, then train everybody, then check up on their activity. One guy can't do that for a team of 20 people, and we're bigger than that now. So it was just something, like you said, I knew I'd have to get out of the way. But I'd listened to a book. I can't remember the name of it right now. I can find it on my phone, but it was about, it was written by a woman who was like a chief executive at Netflix, and how Netflix started blowing up. She was there from the beginning on up. And she really just talked about, you got to give your team more credit. They can do it. They're smart people. Why did you hire them? They're smart. Let them do it. Just back up. You'll have, once a couple of them kind of crush what you asked them to do, you just start saying, okay, it's true. Like, people can do this. And I started entrusting people to do it, and no one let me down. It's like, the longer the rope I've given them, the better they've done. You know how they used to say, you give them a long rope, they'll hang
Yeah.
themselves? Bullshit. People can do a good job. You just got to give them the chance.
Oh, I completely agree. But it's so
Agreed.
hard, especially most entrepreneurs, most agency owners want to have control. They want to do it because we think we can do it the best. We can do it the fastest. We know it's just easier for us to do it. So what did you not delegate?
I still check my emails every day just to see if any of them are for me directly. Otherwise, they're getting sent off to everybody else. So I didn't fully delegate my email checking. That's still there. I still run payroll, make sure all the numbers check out before I hit the process payment button. But almost everything else I've delegated. My guys track how good the leads are doing. What trend are we having with one vendor versus another? What trend are we having with one of our staff versus who's the strongest at mail, who's the strongest at web leads, who's the strongest, and like we're moving them around. Like these guys are doing everything that I used to do. So yeah, I'm not doing any of the crazy day-to-day stuff that I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So out of curiosity, let's pretend like you're starting a brand new agency today.
Okay.
All right, brand new today, 2024, going into 2025. Is there anything that you would do today that you may not have done as a first year, second year, third year agent learning? So how would you start a business today? Anything you would do differently?
Yeah, I would change a couple things. So it took me until about my third year to really get in gear. Part of it was I just couldn't find a good staff member sales wise. Cause here I was every day working, selling 50 to 70 policies a month on my own. And when I brought somebody on, if they didn't do that in the first month or two, I would fire them. And that was wrong. I can think of at least one or two guys I should have given a longer chance because they would have turned out great. But I didn't know that it took 3-4 months to really figure it out, especially if you didn't come from insurance experience. So I'd be a lot more patient with my new hires than I was. And I'd spend more money on marketing sooner than I did. So, I quit a high paying corporate job, to come into insurance. And I was lucky if I made like 35 or 45 grand that first year. But I needed every dollar of that. Right. But I wish I could have been even more broke that first year and just invested in more marketing. Cause that once we figured out marketing and what lead sources really worked, and I started tracking cost of acquisition, cost of marketing, like, is the ROI there? Then I was like, okay, I just need to pour more money into what's working. And I started doing that. And every time I got more and more renewals, I would just pour the money back. In the very beginning, I wasn't as liberal with my spending as I could have been, bigger, faster if I'd have done that.
I don't know if I've ever had anyone say, I wish I was more broke in the beginning.
Yeah.
I like that hit me. I was like, God, I remember going to 4 grocery stores trying to clip coupon. I don't know. No, Kory, I was pretty broke in the beginning. Okay. So we have had you on the buzz before, and we have talked about marketing and feeding the team and marketing leads. Has anything changed? What is your current focus from a marketing standpoint? If I were to give you, let me phrase it like this. If I were to give you $100,000 for marketing, what would you spend it on?
I'd spend half of it on mail and the other half on internet leads.
Direct mail? You would spend $50,000 on direct mail.
I spend more than that every month right now.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. You would do 50. Okay. What kind of internet leads?
I have never been the one to do live call transfers. We have really yet to crack the code on making that work for my office. Just the cost of acquisition is higher on live call transfers, in my experience, than just buying data leads. But what I try to do differently with data leads is I'm only working with vendors who have search data. So that means somebody went online, they strictly asked for a quote or searched to speak with someone. So the intent is much higher than they filled out a form on Facebook and just somewhere in the fine print it says someone's going to contact you. Like, yes, you can buy those leads for $1 a piece or whatever it is, but you got to call thousands of them to get the same intent of the data leads. So I spend all my money on the data leads, and we get that from Quote Wizard, from Smart Financial, from Datalot at the moment. There've been other vendors that have come and gone. They can give you decent data as well. But so my staff, they get about 8 to 12 data leads a day, plus whatever mail calls we get, which is anywhere from 10 to 12 calls a day, just total for the office. And so they're working 8 to 12 data leads a day. They're quoting those people, emailing, texting the quotes, calling those people. But the intent is higher. So people are picking up the calls, they're replying to your emails, they're replying to your texts. So our close rate on the high filtered, high intent data is anywhere between like 12 and 18% close rates.
That's really great for an internet lead.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay.
But the cost for the lead is like $26 or $27.50 now. I want to say, per lead.
And you're doing 10 to 12 per person a day.
Yeah.
A day.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about your mail. Who are we targeting and what are we saying on this?
It's changing almost every
Mhm.
single month. At least who we're targeting is changing slightly. What we're saying has been pretty much the same for the last couple of years. So targeting is what's your best strike zone? Like Allstate doesn't want super old houses. They also don't want super old drivers or super young drivers. So if we're mailing we're leading with home on all of our mail, but we're also quoting auto 99% of the time. So we're thinking about that when we're sending our mail. If someone calls in and they're 82 years old, like Allstate's just going to price themselves out of it. So we don't mail a certain age group. We also Allstate is highly reliant on credit score. IS score is what it's called for us, but credit-based rating. So I don't mail certain zip codes who have relatively poor income or whatever. And my software sales genie, Axel, has all this data. So I filter it based on zip code, which zip codes supposedly have the highest income. I filter it by age, and also by the value of the home. So I don't mail any houses under 300K in value. And that's just because I know when those people do call in, it's going to be Allstate's strike zone. Because I don't want to spend however much I spend on mail just to get it disqualified. Yeah.
You're targeting ideal clients.
Yeah, it's your ideal
That's
customer.
all it
Yes.
is.
Oh, yeah. It's like, how much do they make? Where do they live? How many toys do they have?
This is so good because so many times I talk.
Oh
and-
my God.
And I used to be the same way where
Yes.
we want to insure everybody. It's
I
like,
wish we could.
no,
We're
you don't want to
good
insure
things.
everybody.
No.
So ideal clients. All right, I have to ask you because we tried direct mail our first year as agents and it sucked, man. Like lost every penny we put into it. So who are you using as a vendor for the direct mail?
So if a lot of people say that about mail, I have had the exact opposite experience, but the reason I did is because my message in my mail is not the canned stuff the corporate tells you to send.
Yep.
Because that just, I might have said this on the first time we were on, but this book called No BS Guide to Direct Marketing by Dan Kennedy. I listened to that, and that's what prompted me to try mail in the first place. And in there, it ultimately says, you're not Geico, right? You're not State Farm. Your message can't be, hey, we're here when you think of us. It's got to be direct. You're a small business. You need that client to directly interact with you. So your message has to be in their face. And that's what I've done. I've tweaked the letter multiple times, but it's basically saying you're overpaying for home insurance. Allstate saves you on average $1,000 a year. What can you do with this $1,000? Call me, text me, email me. Then I'll put together, this is how much it would possibly cost with certain assumptions. Call me, text me, email me. So it's asking for a response 6 times on one page. What's in it for them? And then it's in an envelope, and the envelope doesn't say Allstate on it, doesn't say the Rykman agency. It's a blank envelope, and it looks handwritten, but it's printed on there. So it's enough to fake most people out to at least open it. Once you open it, you got 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds to get their attention. Now, what does your letter say? And that's where the direct message comes in.
Hell yeah.
What's in it for them? That's marketing 101 though. So many times I see posts or even direct mail where it's all about what they're trying to get. And it's like, no, you have to speak to me and my problems and what I am going through.
And it can't be the corporate bullshit like you said.
No, because corporate has their own brand and
And they have
do
like
just
lawyers
fine.
and all these other people that just soften it. They're not salespeople. And you're a small guy, you know, you gotta be as direct as possible.
Yeah, go after what you want.
And by being direct, you're speaking directly to that person and their pain point and the ideal client. And that's how you convert. When you talk to somebody and they feel like you're talking to them, that's how you convert prospects into clients.
100%.
Okay, I want a rapid fire question. I've never done this before.
Let's go. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I've never done this before, but I was thinking about it, like how quickly you can pop off an answer. So I'm like, all right, Kory, you're up. First time. Okay, so if you had to start over today, who would be your first hire?
Ryan Doy. He works for me right now.
Ryan?
Yeah,
What
what's up,
role is that?
Ryan?
Sales? Is that sales?
Yeah, he's one of the managers now. He and I have gotten along really well. I trust him with the entire business.
Okay, so your first hire would be a salesperson.
For sure, it would be a salesperson.
Okay, no question. Okay, do we pay a base plus commission or are we commission only?
Base every time plus commission.
Okay. Do you specialize or do you do the generalist model? Meaning, are you having people focused on one product line or are they a combo?
Product line, they do home and auto and boat and motorcycle, but not life. So my salespeople focus strictly on home and auto, basically. And then specialize yet again, because salespeople aren't doing service. I've got a team for service.
Okay. What product line would you focus on first if you were to start over right now?
That I wouldn't change. I'd stick with leading with home.
Okay. And you kind of already answered this, but I'm going to give it to you again. If I were to give you $10,000 on your first day of agency, what would you spend it on?
You know, male candidate leads.
Hell yeah, man.
I love that.
Hell
So
yeah.
good. This has been such a great episode. Kory, thank you again for being a part of the first ever rapid fire hot seat on the Insurance Buzz.
You're welcome.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for your time. For all of those of you that are tuning in today, you have to have a takeaway today. So text us 816-727-7610. What is your best takeaway that you're running and implementing right now? Other than that, as always, time and attention are by far our most important assets. They are your most important assets, and we appreciate you tuning in with us today on The Buzz. Make it great.